How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have John with us, and John is the founder of the Veteran Entrepreneur. So John, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Oh man, that's such a great question, and I'm sure you get many different answers. But I went to business school and I thought I knew everything when I got out of college. I was going to be the next J. Paul Getty, right? Well, I found out very quickly that's not how it works. And the steps that I made to reach the first million was they overlapped a lot. The very first one, I think, is be realistic. And these all overlap. There's no anything set in stone. Be realistic. Look at your numbers. Build a pro forma. Set up a budget. Think about what you want your sales to be. Just be realistic. And then believe. We hear that all the time. It's so cliche. Oh, believe. I'm telling you, you have to believe in your concept. You have to believe in your initiative, your mission, whatever it is you do. If you're selling bananas on the beach, believe in what you're doing. Or if you're running a big corporation with lots of employees, have that belief. This is one.
Yeah, they believe, John, they believe actually because they will get tough.
Oh my God,
it's
you
gonna
hit the
be,
wall.
oh, you hit the wall so many times that it's gonna be times that you're gonna be thinking, man, shall I quit and find another job? This is too much. I can't take it. So then that you're 100% right. If you don't believe strongly enough, easily you will quit and find another job because it doesn't matter which business you are, it will become tough, right?
It will become tough. And I'll share a quick story about that, what you just said, Harry. I climbed high altitude mountains in the Andes for 12 years. And being in Florida at the time, it was hard to train for high altitude, right? At sea level, and we're going to 6,000 meters. So we would train for months, carry the heavy backpack, we would run, do stairs, do this, do that. And on every high mountain, every one, you'd see the summit, right? Looks like you can reach out and touch it, but it's still 7 hours away, right? So you get to this wall.
Oh my God.
And it's like what you just said.
And you tired it. I done it, climbing the mountain, you tired it. And the people say, well, it still is so many kilometers. I'm you thinking, how come if it's so close, I can see it?
Your muscles are killing you. You have nosebleeds, you have a headache, and people quit. I've seen it.
People take a taxi. People take a taxi. I said, that's it. I'm taking a taxi or a special truck. Not even a taxi. You need a special truck with wheels to get your. So, John, then after you believe it, what are the other 3 steps?
Well, that's it. Break through the wall. Be fearless.
Wow, love it.
Be fearless. You get to that wall. You want to quit. Where does your patience come in? You have to be fearless, and not just the word. You have to live it. An entrepreneur is like going into battle. And if you don't believe and you don't have the right budget or you don't have the right mission and you don't believe and you don't have the perseverance, you're never going to make it. Because what you just said, Harry, you're going to have times when it gets tough. And that's when you're going to have to reach down and grab your foundation, your fearless foundation, and push through. Believe me on this, trust me on this. If you can do that, if you can push through the fear when you want to quit, you want to give up, then you've taken the next step towards success, right? Remember to save your energy. Don't get spent. You can go into your business every day. Pace yourself.
It's a marathon, John. It's not 100 meters run. It's being an entrepreneur. It's a marathon that never ends, right?
It never ends, Harry. You're so right. And it is a marathon. Business is a marathon. I can remember.
People
that
think
first
that it's only
year.
100 meters run.
Yeah. We did 186,000 US our first year, right? And it's like I was selling ice axes in Florida. We had a backpacking store. And who goes climbing in Florida? But we didn't give up. And then once that first million came, 23 years of this, right? It started to flow.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it was amazing. So pace yourself, be realistic, enjoy the moment. Remember that we only go around once in life, right? Savor the moments that you're building your business, savor them and learn. Also, you're going to make mistakes, right? Who doesn't make mistakes? Business and life, whatever we're doing, forgive yourself for the mistakes. Now, my dad used to say I was so hard-headed, right? I was stubborn, right? So I already had a mark against me going in because I wouldn't learn from the mistakes. Why do I keep making the same mistake? Till I finally got it. I forgave myself, but I learned from the mistake. Learn from your mistakes, and you're going to make a lot of them in business. I got to tell you, Harry, in 23 years, treat your customers like gold. I can count on two hands, and I'm not joking. I can count on two hands how many customers that we really made angry because maybe they didn't like my policy or whatever. We bent over backwards. What's the value you have to your clients? Whatever it is, like I said, bananas. What's the value? And if you value what it is you do, you will make sure that your clients, customers are happy. Not all of them. You're going to have those people that you can never please. I don't care how much you bend over backwards, but remember to always be of value, whether you're online with a business, whether you're bricks and mortar, whether it's the mom and pop shop that's been handed down from your family, whether it's your business that you started, always give value and never treat your customers like they're just another box. I hear this all the time in the digital world. We hire somebody to build a website, right? And sometimes they lose the fact that we're people. So if you're a digital products and services company and you can train yourself or you can train your people that work for your company to treat the clients like real people, that's going to be of a great value and it's going to set you apart. So treating people correctly and right with dignity and honesty and integrity, these are old words, will help your business to flourish. That's it. That's five, I think. There's probably 100, but
Treat your
five is
customer like
good.
gold. Hey, John, treat the customer like gold. So previous this broadcast, I was speaking with a friend of mine. She owns a small business in Spain, right? And she was telling me, Harry, you won't believe. You see, one of my employees was treating bad the client. She has a dental practice, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and I mean, she was a little bit upset, and because if it doesn't matter, even if the client, right, isn't have a special needs, at the end of the day, we always communicate this to our employees. This is them. Those clients is who pay your salary. It's not her. Those
100%.
clients pay the salary. So how you treat mal, how you treat wrongly, the people that they're paying you the salary, because when you are in business and you start to bring employees to organization, somehow the dynamic change and people want to keep you happy, John happy, because John is paying the salary. And sometimes this get lost in translation because John doesn't have to be happy. Who have to be happy is the clients, because who pay the salary is the client. So why we get this wrong, John? Why companies get this loss in transaction? And it's so crucial, exactly what you're sharing, that I want to stand a little bit more in
No. That's a great
having,
question.
because you have to treat them well anyway. Otherwise, you're not gonna have a business.
Oh,
If
you
you
won't
treat
for
the
very
client
long.
like a
Yeah, yeah.
number, you're not gonna last longer anyway. You have to do it anyway. So why do you think that even companies survive where, okay, customer service, which I don't understand, but still they are around? And what message do you have for our listeners that they own businesses, they planning like you to start the first business, or they are in the process to growing from 0 to 1 million or from 1 to 10 million? What message do you have for them in terms of customers?
Great question, Harry. I appreciate it. And I know your listeners do too. Remember this, it's very basic. Your business is a reflection of you, plain and simple. I was the business. People came a lot. Sure, they came to buy the equipment and the gear, but they came because they knew that we were going to treat them right. And that was something that I was raised with. Always treat people right. And if you hire people, find a way to hire the right people that will impart to your clients and your customers who it is you are. We went through a lot of employees over the years, but we also had, when we found one, those employees stayed with me 4, 5, 6 years. And as a matter of fact, we sold the business. We can go into that, but it stayed 10 years after we had it. But there's people that we hired, that we trained in the backpacking and travel industry, that are still doing it, meaning that we hired the right people that had the same love of the concept that we had, which
100%.
was a direct reflection. So, some of this is, virtues and values. I would say we could add this, Harry. We could make it number 6. Take a moment, lock yourself in a room, be all alone, take out your journal. I hope you're journaling. Take out your journal and write in your journal 5 or 7 core values that you have as a person. Whatever they are. I'm not going to tell you what your core values are, only you know them, right? Then you go into business and you have these core values in this black book or red book or whatever. And if you find yourself in business straying from your core values, right? Find a way to get back to your core values. Run your business, treat your employees with your core values. And if your core values are high value, and they need to be, then whatever it is you do, you're going to have and you're going to find a certain level of success. There's too many people these days, Harry, they don't run their businesses anymore with core values or with these virtues that we talk about. Sometimes they run them with vices, it's like, and you can tell. But it's amazing to me. I can walk into a business, and I'm no expert, I just have some experience, but I can walk in and I can catch a vibe if it's bricks and mortar. Even if you're building a website, try to portray the perception that it is that you want to portray with the digital tools. But if you have bricks and mortar, set the stage, set the atmosphere. When you walk in, let's say it's a Cuban restaurant. We used to go to them in Coconut Grove, that area, all the time. You can walk in, the music's playing, you can smell the coffee, and it's an upbeat. That's a restaurant you want to eat in. Then you could walk in another one 2 blocks away, and everybody's, what's your order? What do you want? Which is a direct reflection. I don't go back to those places too often. And now we're talking about restaurants, but it's like that in any business. Value drives people to your doors. And that value is personified by you yourself and the people you hire. Think about that. So the mission of us as business owners, is to make the future or the experience for your customers better than it would have been otherwise. When somebody visits you or goes online to your online company, whatever it is they with you, make a transaction, make sure that they're treated like that's the only client in the world. I'm telling you, it sounds kind of crazy at times, and we can't do that with everybody. Sure you can. Because if it's in your heart and it's in your soul, it's going to be in your business. Find a way to do it. You're the leader. Quit goofing around. Make it happen.
And the business will be a reflection of you. And I remember with these clients, how you can create an amazing experience. If you can create an amazing experience for those clients, you're gonna have always business. They can even buy more products and services from you. However, exactly, John, depends a lot from the employees. And I know, because you just shared with me now, that you have a certain values that comes to your culture as a human being. The problem is that when you expand in the business, you need to bring employees, and I understand 100% what you just shared, because if you bring employees that have your same culture, your same values, those employees will be with you for years. I have them myself. That they, my IT director, I can tell you how many different businesses I have, and my IT director is still the same. It doesn't matter. He's with me forever. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, and like that, I have a group of employees that it doesn't matter which business I open, business I close, business this business fail, this business succeed, whatever, they still on the payroll. They just switch because the most important, they have the same core value that you that I have. And then they have a set of skills. The issue is, John, that when you start in a business, we all don't know what we're doing, and without knowing, you bring the first people to your organization, and because you don't know, and exactly, nobody. Maybe you learning in the business school in a book. Completely different book game is in the real life. Maybe you read in the book, but after you don't do it and you make the mistake and you lose money, or somebody treat a bad customer in front of you, then you say, oh, wow, this is having an impact that I was not counting on. So how you navigate, John, in your business, this challenge, because growing a business, you're going to have, especially if you exit it, like you described, you're going to have 23 years that you're hiring people, bringing people to the organization. And sometimes things are not perfect. Sometimes people make a mistake down the line. I've been facing that. Sometimes employees come to my organization, somebody hide them, and just it landed to me. And then I'm realizing that the cultures and the value that this person, nothing wrong with that person, it doesn't match my culture and values, and it's not going to be a good fit. And now you have to deal with it. You need to try to give some training to bring into the culture. 90% of the time doesn't work, and they feel uncomfortable, and they want to leave, because if they want to treat the customer bad, and this is in the culture, right? And in other companies, it's okay, but in my one is not. Then the employee feel uncomfortable, and they have to leave. And those on that stage is that they say they believe what I believe, or you believe, like you want to give an amazing experience to the clients. So how you deal, John, or can you share to dealing with those challenges? Because it's coming to all the entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter if you're running a small business, a large company. Not everybody that come to organization is gonna fit the same culture. So how you deal with this?
Well, great question. And a couple of different ways. There was a movie in the 1970s came out, Charlton Heston. It was called Soylent Green. Now, I'm not going to go into the plot and all that. It doesn't matter. But what he said was Soylent Green is people, right? Well, I'm just going to steal that. And I'm going to say business is people. Okay. And I'm going to say this rhetorically. If you don't have a certain affinity for people, where they come from, who they are, what they need, why they're buying from you, whatever. If you don't have an affinity for people, you might want to think about maybe not being in business, because business is people, and it's relational. It's relationships that we build, repeat clients, word of mouth. We understand that. So I sold a business 10 years later. The that bought it, they were still in business. And he said, hey, you know what, John, I'm going to tell you straight up. If you had not developed your customer base, we would have never had made it. 80% of
Wow,
our
that's powerful.
customers, 80% is
Wow.
repeat business.
Wow.
Harry, we had customers that were there when they were in college, right? Or they were older and retired, and they had kids that were in college. We had like 3 generations in one business of customers, and that repeat customer did not come back because we were a bunch of jerks. They came back because they had the perception, not only from the owner, me, but from the people who we trained, that people
That's
cared about
amazing.
them. So, exactly, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of the
Oh
people you
yeah, a
talk,
lot of
they
work
understand
coming work.
exactly.
Wow.
It takes patience, and it takes a genuine desire. There's a word there. I can't find it. Maybe you can figure it out. Genuine. It takes a
Obsession.
yes.
Obsession.
That's a good one too. But people, my wife says to me sometimes, she says, "My gosh, you just met that guy, but you already know where his family's from, how many kids they have, what he did in the army, what his college degree was, all within a couple of minutes." And listen, I got that from my father, because when I was a kid, he sold life insurance, and he used to take me all the time, take me with him. He would go visit his clients. Back in the day, when insurance salespeople went to their clients, they collected the premium, they signed it in a little book. So I would sit back and I would watch my dad. I was young, and I'm like, why are you taking me, Dad? But now I'm 66, but now I understand why he took me, because he gave me the example that all people, I don't care, we hear about all the stuff going on, people are people, right? And if we're in a business that takes care of people, our customers, then we have to show them that we're being genuine about it. You know, I don't know how many people I've met, you can tell, they reach out, you reach back, and within a minute, they're giving you a sales pitch. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a person, but don't you think we should build a relationship first to build some trust? That's people skills. Harry, where have they gone, man? Reach out to me. I
it
love
happened
people.
a lot. It happened a lot. Yeah.
It happens a lot. But let's talk a little bit. Tell me about your family. Where did you grow up? How did you get to where you're at? Don't just give me a sales pitch. And if you don't get what you want, it not only makes you look not too good, it makes your business look like a scam.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, I don't want to make anybody mad.
They don't even know if you need the product. They haven't had time to talk yet with you to see if you need it, and they're already selling it to you, right?
Yeah, I don't want to go down that road. That's when we can talk about digital services.
No,
and all
however, it's important now that we touched this point, right? Build the relationship first.
Build it first.
If we are human beings, this is not a transaction. We are not a number. We are human beings. So, and you're able to find out the problem that the other person have, and you have a solution, a good solution to the right price. It's not going to be any problem for you to sell your product, but try to find out first if the person is going to be a right fit. John, I want to talk, because you talk about your father, right? What because the 500 millionaires that we interview in this podcast, the gene, it have nothing to come from inheritance, right? Some people, the father have been an employee. Even my father, my parents, they were teachers, right? And then they became an entrepreneur. So what gave you? I see that you were leaning to this because you even went to business school. However, when do you decided that you want to become an entrepreneur? When you saw your dad selling the insurance, or maybe you want to make more money for the home? What maybe it was a TV show, maybe a friend told you, maybe your dad told you. So when you took the decision that because you started your career very young, yeah, you don't look to me that you work for anybody else so long, yeah. So when you decided that you want to become an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. Probably when I was like 4 years old, but I didn't know it, right? So I go to college. I was waiting tables in a steak and ale restaurant. You remember those guys? And I got my degree in restaurant and hotel management, right? That's what I thought I wanted to do. I had a full ride scholarship in art. When I was in high school, my art teacher put together a portfolio. So when it came time to recruitment, I had this full ride scholarship, University of Kansas, somewhere in the Midwest. And
so you get graduated and you said, okay, this is the job that I want. I want to be a manager of a restaurant, right?
Well, no. So my dad says to me, right? He pulls me aside. He says, son, let me tell you, there's no money in art. No money. You got to be in business somehow. So I was waiting tables and I thought, wow, that's a good idea. So I went into hotel restaurant management. I got my degree and I had like 11 job offers. The hotel and restaurant, they're always looking for people. There's such an attrition, right? So I got a job with a great company. I went to Southern California and I was there to get all trained up. My first job was in the Virgin Islands down in on St. Thomas.
Wow, cool.
Well, yeah. So I was down there. I worked in a different culture. We had West Indian people working for us. Really a lot of fun. I loved it. And it was very loose, right? It was very celebrative.
Yeah, in the Caribbean is, nice weather. We smile a lot.
Oh my gosh, it was paradise.
From Cuba, so I know the culture. Yeah, we take it easy in the Caribbean. Yeah,
yeah. So it was fun. Then I got transferred. I went to open a store in Philadelphia, but then I got transferred to Coconut Grove in Miami, and it was like coming home because that was where my mother was from, and I got to manage a big restaurant. I was one of 5 managers. And I ran the oyster bar. We'd go through 100 bushels of oysters on the weekend. So
that's busy, yeah. Sounds busy.
Yeah, real busy. But here's what I was.
And complex.
Bingo. But it was busy all the time. It was crazy. University of Miami Hurricanes, the Miami Dolphins. People were always there from all over the world, South America, Central America. It was awesome. A melting pot. And I was always trying to improve things. But what I learned in the corporate lifestyle, and the corporations are great. I'm not knocking a corporation, but they do things a certain way. And I was always wanting to do things my way. My way was a good way, but it necessarily didn't follow the corporate protocol.
Welcome to the club. Been there, done it. Exactly. I'm a
Yeah,
photocopy of you. Yeah.
bingo. So I'm like,
The
this
little
isn't
that
going to
I
work for
work,
me.
it was always every time that they give me a job, I was very bad employee. Every time that they would give me a job, I'm thinking, but how about we do it this way? And the manager is telling me, Harry, look, there is a procedure here. There is a way of doing it. That's it. Don't get headache. He will tell you what. Just
That's
follow
so
what is
true.
written and don't give me headache. I'm like, man, if we should try this, it's gonna be better. Very excited about it. And but this
It's
is
so
who we
true
are,
though.
right?
But I was 26 years old and I'm like, what am I going to do now? So, well, you know what I did? I decided I was going to go into the United States Army to get the college fund. I was 26 years old. Most people go in the military when they're a lot younger. So I went in the military, U.S. Army, 4th Infantry Division, and I learned a lot of things. They sent me to the Primary Leadership Development School called PLDC. It's an academy. I graduated #1. My roommate was like the second guy. We got rewarded for that. What I learned in the service was that if you did your job, and you followed the protocols, standard operating procedures, that you would be rewarded on imagine this, Harry, on your merit. So I learned all about motivation. I learned all about attention to detail. I learned all about perseverance. I learned all about breaking through the wall. And so when I got out of service and transitioned back into the civilian world, I took all of those skill sets that the Army had spent lots of money teaching me, and I brought them to my first business. I borrowed $25,000. I paid every penny back, and I opened my first company. That first year, we did $186,000. And from there, every year,
Wow,
in six
wow,
months,
wow.
people didn't
Very
think we could do
impressive.
it. So, and that's how it worked. So, the skills that we've talked about and the
Mm-hmm.
behaviors and the ideas
Mm-hmm.
and the virtues and values, those are the things that help me to sell ice axes in Florida. We had an
Mm.
adventure travel store, and people would
Wow.
come in, customers would look at the wall of gear, and they would go, "Where do people climb in Florida?" And I used to
Which
look at them.
or plane, yeah.
I used to look at it and I go like, you're kidding me, right? I say the world has mountains. We have
Absolutely. You take a plane and
clients
you
that go
go, oh
everywhere.
my God, you were selling the impossible.
So we
Oh my God,
became
tough.
everybody's adventure. It was awesome. So
Yeah.
that's how it worked, and that's all those things we talked about. Reality, be realistic, have virtues and core values. Live them, breathe them. Don't just talk about it, and treat your clients like gold. You're not going to please everybody. Admit your mistakes, move on, learn, and just continue to grow your business because you have a value that
Mm.
your clients need.
Very
Separate
impressive.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, no, very easy because is somebody see it, right? Who will want this stuff in Florida that is so plain that is no mountains, nothing to. It's
So
like
much
you
climbing
selling.
gear.
It's like selling the impossible, right? It's like selling ice in the Arctic, and yet you did find the niche and the very well. Wow, very impressive. So my question is the following, John. When you decided to start this business, right? How many of the skills that you learned from the military actually make a big difference? I'm asking you a question because several veterans, they have been in this podcast and they are all brilliant entrepreneurs. They have exited the companies for millions. And we find out that a business and being in the military it sounds like totally apart, but actually is the opposite. Have a lot of things that in common because you guys learn something key, which is leadership there. They teach you that very well because if you don't have effective leadership, people can die. It's not like you lose your money and and you find
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
So
It's true.
leadership over there it goes to the next level, and this is key when you go in business. Also discipline, yeah. To have a consistent business, you have to have discipline, right? And also integrity, loyalty, a lot of skills that if you're able to communicate that effectively to your employees and the employees become leaders themselves, Then you have, I'll tell you a story, yeah, that happened to me out of self-preservation. In my first business, property, right? We managed to sell over 5 million. I remember it was one point in the business that everybody wanted to talk to me. We have over 177 clients. They all want to speak with Harry, and all my team, they also want to speak with me. The team to tell me to take decisions, and then the clients, because I don't know, they want, it was a property business. They rent in a room. Probably they want to leave early or they want to stay longer. And they knew there was somebody called Harry that will solve that problem because he's who guy they call. So I remember that I put in behind my desk that said, well, to the team, to the employees, I told them, look, don't come and ask me any question if you don't have 2 or 3 solutions, because otherwise you guys gonna kill me. Between you and the tenants that want to speak with me, when I'm gonna sleep? Yeah, I need to spend the whole time on the phone. So then, and then one of the members had said to one of my managers, his name is Eva, I told her, Eva, look, from now you are Harry. She's like, what? Yes, you are Harry. So everybody wants to speak with me, will speak with you, and you sort it out like you're me. You don't you deal with this, yeah. So bottom line, the people start to come to me and said, look, Harry, what do you think about this? I said, what do you think? Do you have 2 or 3 solutions? And they will say, okay, yeah, I have the 3. I thought, okay, pick one. No, why me? Yes, you pick. We try. If it works, it works. We try something else, but you choose. It doesn't, it's okay. So can you believe, John, that one day I arrived to the office and Eva, my manager, told me, Harry, we don't need you, go home. I'm like, what? I said, you don't, who's gonna buy? I was telling her,
You're
who's
too
gonna,
good, Harry. You're
I said,
too good,
who's
man.
gonna buy the paper for the photocopy? And they told me, Harry, we can get our own paper for the photocopy, don't worry about it. And then they sent me home. The first day I feel a little bit strange. You say, wow, did I make obsolete myself in my own company? I realized that somehow out of self-preservation, I turn them into leaders, into proactive leaders, to the point that they have ownership of the company into a way that they believe they react and work there like it's like belong to themselves. So I have one of my biggest fear. I remember when I had my company is that the employees go out for a bit and don't take me. You have these companies, right? That you have all the employees go together and they don't tell anything to the boss to go and have fun. And oh, the boss, forget about it. Let's go together. And this is one of my biggest fears, nightmares. To say this, I'm not gonna happen. So I create a culture that okay, we are all together. We're trying to do this thing. Let's try. You guys propose solution. I listen to it. And so then when they're going to have fun, actually, I was telling the girls, I remember my managers, I know how to dance salsa because I was born in Cuba, and the girls, they were always telling me, Harry, take us to dance salsa. I remember that to the guys, look, this is how we're gonna do. You guys rent out the rooms and you pick a day. I go there. I told you, all of you, we dance salsa as much as you want. And I will get the drinks and everything is gonna be your they just make that the job is done and the rooms are full. And I remember taking the guests to dance, have a lot of fun and everything, and to the point that this relationship created so deep within who I am and why they wanna be the company. To literally they sent me home. It was amazing. The second day I was in my house. I was thinking how to pull this off, and how they wanted to run. So how develop leadership in the organization? You know, learning from the military, have been learning by right. And what's the difference between someone like you that been trained to do that to a certain extent that people can die if you don't do it effectively, or me, then I have to learn kind of by accident because I learning kind of by accident, by survival. And no one, I didn't even know that I need to become a leader anyway. I just thought that I have a product, I sell it, I make a profit, and that's it. I'm in business, I'm making money. Nobody told me that when you grow in a company, you have to become a leader and you have to develop leadership in your organization, and you have to, otherwise, you won't be able to grow. So tell us about this transition, the good, the bad, and the ugly of being a veteran and being in business, and what advice do you have developing leadership and organization for our audience?
A great question, Harry. Thanks for sharing that about your own situation and what happened to you and your business. Yeah, I can relate to. I'll go back to what we said earlier. Business is people. It's the same thing with leadership. Leadership is people. And yeah, in the military, we're trained certain things. And you're right. If you have a rendezvous point or an ambush you need to set up, and people don't show up on time, it can be a very dicey situation. So, that attention to detail. But one thing that I learned in the military with respect to leadership, you would have a person at a certain rank who would get promoted to a higher rank, usually from to a sergeant. And then they would change. Once they got the sergeant stripes on and they would start barking out orders, it was like, what happened to Joe? He's been promoted and he thinks he's all of the army, right?
Have become a jerk, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do that by virtue of their position. But when I got promoted to sergeant, the approach that I took, because again, leadership is people, I would never subordinate soldier something that I wasn't trained to do, not necessarily specifically, and something I would never ask them to do something that I wouldn't do. And sometimes you had to get down and work with subordinate soldiers so they could see that you were dedicated to the mission. And once they started to learn that about Sergeant Krotec, they would jump in and
that
they
the
would
most
take
important
over.
is the mission, right?
The mission. Jump in. They would, don't worry, Sergeant, we got this. And you knew they were trained.
Amazing.
And so what I believed in my mind, and believe this in your own mind, be a difference maker. Be a difference maker in your life. Create a business that makes a difference in people's lives, and be a difference maker for your employees. If you can project that and embed that in the hearts and minds of the people that work for you, that people will want to come to your business. They will want to be a customer. So train your employees. And that's what, the difference makers in the military is everybody knew their position. And if they failed, everybody failed. And it's the same in your business. If your employees fail, or you fail at being a leader to your employees, everybody fails. Find ways to improve. Be a difference maker. Use that attention to detail. Persevere. Perseverance is like key. But I just remember that leadership is the same thing. They paid a lot of money to train me in leadership, but there's some natural born traits that I don't think you can. I think they come from somewhere else. I think they come from the universe. And I don't want to get all woo-woo, but I think that some people, there's a spirit that they have that people gravitate towards them and they want to be part of whoever that person is. Could be you or whatever that business is. They're going to gravitate. So if you're a better leader and a difference maker in your own life and other people, train for it. There's lots of great books out there on leadership. Train for it, but be integral, be honest, be genuine, be humble, learn how to be a better leader. And that's always, you know what, Harry, I've been blessed my whole life. I haven't been happy my whole life, but I've been blessed. And I was talking to my wife the other day. I can remember teachers. I don't remember all my teachers, but I can go back to first grade and I can remember teachers all the way through college and even in the military, mentors. They're out there. There are genuine people out there.
And make a big difference in your life, right?
Make a big difference in your life. And I get so many times, Harry, I should have probably gotten in trouble. I was a hooligan, right? Mr. Stubborn, Mr. Harmon. But there are people out there that had the patience to be difference makers in my life. And so what they trained me, I might have learned it through osmosis, subconscious, whatever, but I learned to be a difference maker. And that's what we all need to be as leaders and as business people. Let's make a difference in people's lives. Let's sell products and services that they need, but we got to have them come back. And that's going to come from you and your leadership and how you train, how you act yourself, but also how you train the people that work for you. That's what I did. I was a difference maker in people's lives. And of course, the civilian world isn't necessarily life and death in a physical sense, but it's life and death in a financial sense.
Oh yeah.
So, and you can lose. Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
I've spent, well, we won't go there, but yeah, we learn through the school of hard financial knocks at times too. But I do believe is that, and this might get to woo-woo, but the universe delivers, but it's going to deliver on what you put into it.
100%.
if you are positive and you love what you do and you love the people that work for you, and I'm not
And you,
talking about the weird kind of love, I'm talking about something from here.
mm-hmm.
That love, we didn't even talk about love, but that love of what it is, of who you are and who your people are and who your clients are, that is going to help you also to get to that success summit. Don't give up at the wall. Believe in the mission, one foot in front of the other. Look out for the ice, look out for the rocks. You're going to have challenges, but look at the summit. Think of how you're going to feel when you're standing on terra firma and you can see the curvature of the earth and you're not flying in a plane, you're standing there. You earned it. Bask in the sun, but save some for the trip home because it's harder sometimes going back down. There's still more to come and more summits.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the other thing, that we want to talk about is, at the beginning you were saying, believe in yourself, right? And there are few things, right? Because a lot of people talk also out there, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. But how many times have you seen a fly go to a glass window? Yeah, it doesn't matter how many it doesn't give up, it will never gonna go through unless that you change the approach, unless that somebody open the door and then the fly go out of the door. So believe in yourself and don't give up. It comes with a caveat. It comes with, you don't give up, but at the same time, if something is not working, and you keep doing the same thing again and again and again, not because you do it more time, exactly the same thing, you're gonna have a different result. You're gonna have it's the same result. So believing in yourself and don't giving up, when challenges come, right? It's a very thing, because at the same time you have to become creative and you have to realize how, you don't give up in the mission, exactly like you say, right? But the way that you achieve that mission, sometimes you cannot be stubborn. Yeah, I'm Taurus, so I'm a little bit stubborn, and I learned in this career that you have some time to change your approach. It's not like, even if you believe that's gonna work, if the thing is not working, you have to be able to to pivot, to the direction in order to arrive to the mission. One guy who was in this podcast, a millionaire, and told me the other day, told me, Harry, tell me what is the fastest point from A to B, and I said the straight line. And he told me, no, Harry, is not the straight line, is the path. Think about it, right? The removing the resistance. If you remove the resistance from A to B, right, you can arrive faster, because think about the river, have less resistance, even that the path is a little bit longer.
Yeah, yeah.
So sometimes you want to go from A to B and you want to achieve so fast that you repeat again and again and again, and you're stubborn, and you find a lot of resistance there, where they're changing the approach, opening the door, the fly can actually go through. So how you deal when you have this challenge, yeah, like you and I were stubborn. So how you surrender the stubbornness in order to be flexible in business, to avoid resistance and to continue the flow, so you can get to from A to B faster.
What a question. You know, you've
In the
done this
club,
before.
welcome to the
Yeah,
club.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Yeah, I'm
I know.
Taurus.
So
I'm Taurus. Somebody told me that Taurus are stubborn. Yeah.
yeah, me too. So yeah, I mentioned earlier when I got out of college, you know, cockiness kind of, you know, I'm gonna be the next J. Paul Getty. I got my diploma, you know, this stubbornness was not one of my core values. It wasn't one, but I was acting like it was. What so if you're doing this thing like Harry says, and we're doing it, we've been there, we've done that, we're over and over and over and over again. Even my wife says I'm still stubborn sometimes. But this is where humility comes into the picture, right? And maybe some prayer, but humility. Be humble enough to ask for help. Look at your business network. Who do you know that you are friends or that you trust enough to give you some advice? And there's plenty of organizations out there. A lot of them are retired men and women that have been in business. They're maybe through the Chamber of Commerce in your local city. And there's these mentors. Harry and I were talking about mentors that we, learn from. Seek out those people, people that may offer you a different slant or different way to do things, and be humble enough to accept. But you know what? If you don't ask for help, then go bankrupt. Keep believing in something that's not working. Not necessarily the mission, but like Harry said, A to B. Maybe you have to go to C, D, E, and F to get to the end, Z. Be humble. Look for help. Those people are out there. This show, Harry, this podcast show, we just met an hour ago. This show is a great way for entrepreneurs to look at things in a different light. People who have been there before, people are still learning. I don't know everything. Every day I've learned some stuff
Me
from
too.
you.
I'm
That
even
we're
learning
not
from you
alone.
today. Yeah.
The biggest thing, we're not alone. So be humble. Look for different methodologies. And you're still going to do it your way. Somebody tells you to maybe do it this way. Maybe you take their direction and you morph it a little bit to fit
Mm-hmm.
your value set.
Mm-hmm.
But be humble. Humility is huge. And
Mm-hmm.
I learned humility. I was in a play. It was a Filipino guy that him and I were great friends in elementary school. We went to a school play, and we were sitting in this auditorium, and a girl was walking through the seats, and she tripped and stumbled, and I laughed, right? And his father, back could smack people around, I guess, but his father whacked me on the backside of the head. And you know what
Back
he
then,
said? You could do it. But you know what he said to me? And I didn't quite understand it. He said, be humble. But he
oh
said it kind of
wow,
with an accent, be humble.
oh
Didn't
wow,
get it. So here I am laughing at this person
very powerful, huh?
and be humble. But it was somebody else's father. Bobby lives in Hawaii now, I think, somewhere out there. But his dad taught me that. Of course, we pick it up in other places. So be humble. Don't laugh at what other people have done or what other people are telling you to do. Be humble. Accept their advice. Good
Great
leaders
lesson.
are good learners.
Yeah,
You
this is
know,
a hard way, John. And we all been there at the certain. Let's face it, we are all entrepreneurs, so we all have ego. We think that we can do better, so otherwise we're not gonna be entrepreneurs. We won't be entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs, we all by default we are egocentric. So we know that we can do better. However, once you are in business, if you're not humble, and I've been through this process. I remember when I started my business, I started like, I'm the big boss. Everybody needs to do what I say. I'm the big deal here. And you create that persona. And then this is how I end up, John, exactly. I described 177 clients all want to talk to me, and all the team members want to talk to me. And I'm thinking
yeah.
these people are going to kill me. But when I surrendered that ego, when I let go and I start to listen and I started to be humble, guess what happened? They set me free. They told me,
I
Harry, go
love that.
home. We don't need you. And so it's a tough journey that we have to go through. I mean, we need to learn by doing and by things that happen to us. But because you see there, John, and it's sad, I'll travel all over the world and I've been in restaurants or I've been in places that I see the small business owner, going to work from Monday to Saturday. The owner working so many hours, and it's no growth. It's exactly as it's for 20 years, and they're very knowledgeable. They know a lot about the business. I'm speaking with them and saying, look, with knowledge that you have about this topic, how come you still have this small store? And when you dig down, is that ego, is that the
You just gave me
ability
an
that
idea.
I know better, and this is how I do things, and sometimes have an impact on some people. They don't speak with the daughter or the family. They work so many hours, from Monday to Saturday. They are stuck and trying in this rat race, right? And if somebody comes and tell them, look, why you don't take this approach? Why you don't do this? The faith, that ego comes and said, look, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this 20 years. I'm not listen to anyone and things like this. And man, John, this literally can kill you because to me, almost kill me. I was thinking, I was thinking, when I gonna sleep? These the tenants they didn't care. If they call me at 3 a.m., they will. They doesn't matter to them because they want to stay longer. They want to do this. So if I get a slot at 3 a.m., they will call me at 3 a.m. And the employee the same. I'm thinking these people they don't care. The business literally will kill me if I continue in this business, running this business into the way that I'm a big deal. That by the way, I realized that I was such a big deal because after this business, I opened a restaurant, I lost 200,000 pounds. I realized that in business, I was a baby.
No, no,
I
no.
just got lucky that my first business, the property was flourishing and we created something big. But later on, even give me a bigger lesson.
I'm totally with you. You know, my wife says there's 5 words
Mhm.
that she needs to say, right?
Mhm.
I know what I'm doing. Whatever. And she's sitting there looking at me. I know what I'm doing. So think about the ego. Think about this. Let's talk about the universe. Think of the ego. You ever heard of a black hole galaxy? A black hole galaxy is so
Yeah,
dense
yeah.
and it just spins, it
Yes.
sucks all the light in, and
Mm-hmm.
and other stars want to kind of stay
Mm-hmm.
away from it because it'll
Mm-hmm.
destroy them.
Yeah,
Think
yeah.
about the ego as a black hole galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
It just spins and it spins and it spins. There's no to be around it. You know, it's just out there doing nothing but destroying everything in its path.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have another galaxy called a spiral galaxy. And if you look at a spiral galaxy, look it up. It's like a central core, but it's got these arms. It's a typical galaxy how we think about it, right? So black hole galaxy, the ego, when we finally have the courage to admit that something's not going on, and we have the courage to step outside the black hole galaxy state and get into the spiral galaxy where all the spiral galaxies connect, right? They're sharing ideas. They're all over the universe too. Spiral galaxies, a lot of beautiful ones. But then we become a spiral galaxy. We're actually interacting in a positive state. We're learning from other galaxies, and it's great. Life is grand, business is growing. And then there's a galaxy that I kind of made up. There's no galaxy like this, but it's called the contributory galaxy. Now, a contributory galaxy is a galaxy that has all this knowledge. They look kind of like a spiral galaxy, but they have all this knowledge. And the contributor galaxy state of mind are you who have learned the school of hard financial knocks, business knocks, and they've decided that they want back. This podcast show is a give back. So when I think about Harry, I think Harry is an example of a contributor galaxy. That's what Harry is. So we have a choice. We can be a black
Thank
hole
you.
galaxy. Well, you're welcome and you deserve it. But we have a black hole galaxy. We have a spiral galaxy. Remember, it takes courage, it takes humility to get there. And then it takes the desire to go from spiral to contributor galaxy, the desire to help others. So, which galaxy are you? Are you the egocentric black hole that has your business and wonders all the time why things don't improve, why you can't take it to the next millionaire
Wow,
step?
Jon, that's very profound. You see, I'm learning
Yeah.
something very powerful today from you. Very
Well,
profound.
thank you.
Amazing.
And then we become spirals and then we become contributory. But
Mhm.
that's how I look at business states of mind. Think about it. That's all
Mhm.
I'm asking. And
Very
just think
powerful.
about what galaxy do you live in? That's all I'm asking. Black hole, spiral, or contributor galaxy. And the world, how does it go? The most important thing that we can be as leaders and business entrepreneurs, remember the tip of the spear, you're on that point. The best thing that we can do is to remember this accumulated value is always a net positive. So the value that these galaxies contribute back or have is what's going to make a difference in the world. And I have so much hope for the future. I know we're living in an interesting time now where we're being bombarded with all kinds of information 24/7. Families are fighting. There's a lot of really not good things going on. They're trying to divide us and this and that. But I still have great hope in humankind because we're still surviving. Good
Mhm.
things happening. And if we look for the good things, we're going to overcome all of those things that are not so good.
Mhm.
Be a contributor galaxy. the very least, be a spiral galaxy. Get out of the black hole. Put your
Mm,
ego hanging at the door when you walk in. It's okay to have an ego, but if it's keeping you back from being a spiral galaxy or the contributor galaxy, then you need to check it at the door. Remember that, Harry, when we go
yeah.
into a nice restaurant and you your hat or whatever. Well, people don't wear
Exactly.
hats, but their jacket. Check
Mhm.
your ego at the door. It's tough sometimes when we've operated a certain
Oh,
way
difficult, very
for
difficult. Yeah.
decades, but we can do it, and it's a choice.
The
And you've
more
heard
you
of
grow, you
Joe.
get better at it. Hey,
The
John.
more you
The
grow, the better
more
you get. Joe
and
Dispenza. I know you've
and
heard of Joe Dispenza.
yeah.
I had my first out of body experience listening to one of his CDs. But Joe Dispenza says, when you're in that egocentric state and you feel the same behaviors, the same thoughts coming up, think of this one word: change. And he says, if you do it enough, it works because you're putting
Mm,
it out there. Change your egocentric ways. Be a
mm,
spiral galaxy. Contribute to the planet
yeah.
and or to the universe, and be that person. Be
Mm,
that business leader, business owner, business entrepreneur that's successful, whose subordinate employees want to work for them, and who
mhm.
customers and clients come back again and again.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do. That's how we're going to find
100%.
success.
Absolutely, John, because we, from this broadcast, our main value is this one. We want the entrepreneur to be wealthy, to be healthy, and to be happy. But on top of that, we want it to be a conscious entrepreneur, to be a contributors and to do good and make money at the same time. And the main reason that we do in this broadcast is we want to give a contribution to the entrepreneurs because only us know how hard it is. And only us know how lonely can become, especially when you are starting. And yes, there is a lot of information out there, but when you are on charge of your own boat, you are responsible for everything. Things go difficult, and in my opinion, in my experience, and I think in most of the experience of the entrepreneur starting your first business, become a very lonely experience, even regardless of your background, because most of the information that you get there, exactly like you described, you can learn to be a very good entrepreneur in a book, in the school. You can go to college, you can get a degree. Once you learn and you start to operate, and the first that you launch a product, the customer say, I don't buy it, I don't like it. Oh my God. Now
It's
now
yes.
all the books, everything, now you start your loneliness journey to exactly as you described, with a lot of belief in yourself to push forward and to run the business work. And in my experience, I think most of the experience is very lonely. So is if at least the talk that we have today can help only one entrepreneur out there, doesn't matter where in the world is, and he can find a source of inspiration, I think our job for today is done.
That's success. That's success. And even if maybe somebody not today or down the road hears a plan to make things better, it still works. We're putting it out in the universe.
Mhm.
And that's what
John,
we're
and
that's
look,
what we're
I'll even become better because you get paid with different currency. You love with appreciation. You know these talks that I do. I remember in London sometime I wear purple like this. I'm taking the metro. I remember that several times when I'm in the public places, you see Harry, is that you? Man, let's take a picture. I did what you say, that confidence, and it changed my life. This is a picture of my children. We're doing amazing. Thank you so much. And I don't even remember what conference he's talking about, in which
but that's because
country.
it's out there.
I
Harry's
don't,
out there.
I don't, and but then I arrived home and I said, how is that I say something in a place that I didn't, I didn't even recall, and somehow took it into consideration and transform the life and make a great difference. The people send you so much love, so much positive energy. You don't get sick. You get paid in a currency that's better than money. You put this stuff out there in the universe, exactly you describe as a contributor, somehow the energy goes back to you in a way that people wish you to be happy. People wish you to be so good and to stay good and to stay happy that the flow that comes into your life is completely different. And it's an amazing feeling. It's a feeling you are like a multimillionaire, regardless how much money you have in the bank account, because you are operating in a higher level of contribution. You become sometimes, like I say, and I meet amazing people like you. So sometimes I don't know if I'm doing this. I'm doing it for the people, and every time that I do it, I gain more myself. It's amazing. You put it there, you put it out there, that's more, which I was not expecting at all when I started this podcast. I started this podcast because exactly as you said, you want to contribute to the people, and you want to. I don't want the entrepreneurs to feel lonely. I wanted to give them resources. I want them to succeed. That's why I started this. And then all of a sudden, amazing people like you coming and making a massive difference. Like today, I learned something powerful from you. Amazing people like you coming to a podcast, and every day that I'm doing this thing, I'm so fired up because it's the most day because of the people that come and amazing what they're sharing. So being exactly like you described in the spiral of contribution, it will it will set you in a level, in a certain level that I don't know how can I explain to you. So I'm so grateful that you brought this up, and I'm so grateful that because we don't talk about this topic a lot in the podcast, I should speak more about it. So I'm so glad, and I'm so grateful that you brought this up. So thank you so much. So if somebody's in love with our conversation, I think that you are amazing, and they want to find more about you, where to find you. Can you describe how people can find you, how they can access, if you have any website, how this process works? Can you share a little bit with us?
I absolutely can. And thank you for that accolade. I can tell you though, you got the gold star, you get the gold medal, you have the gold cup, right? It's called open-mindedness. And because you're open-minded and you have this desire to really help people, you get rewarded that way. And I'm thrilled to death and grateful for myself. You can find out more. We're working on a global project now, and I'm
Oh,
just going to put
wow.
something. It's the future of the global community, the future of all mankind, is whether or not our children can discern truth from lies, facts from fiction, and reality from fantasy. Now, think about that. So, we're being bombarded 24/7, 365 days a year with information, mainstream media, social media, wherever we get our information. And what we've identified is 6 types of information. 5 types is unreliable. 1 type is
Wow.
the truth.
Wow.
And so we want to be able to help children, and we want to be able to empower families by giving them the tools to analyze information for the truth. We
Oh,
want to
wow.
empower gender roles. We have a Sentinel handbook. You can check it out. You can go to neomasculinity.solutions and check out the website. You can also go to Krotec.com and look at the things that I'm doing there with Poetic Human. And what we're trying to do, Harry, is people and their strengths to reignite intuition, to promote critical thinking skills, to use logic and reason, and to use some common sense whenever we operate in our lives. And also, we're not talking about gender identities. We're talking about gender roles. We've identified the roles that each gender has, and we want to promote those. Okay. And then we're writing curriculums. It's called the Brainery Institute of Critical Thinking, where we've finished a college course. It'll be up and running soon on critical thinking. We've finished the high school curricula. And there's a difference training high school from college, but we're working on middle school and elementary school. And we hope to have a whole curricula that touches upon information analysis. So anyhow, neomasculinity.solutions. I'm also a guest speaker. I can motivate any audience,
Oh,
any
wow, I can
small.
tell.
I
Big
can I
time.
can get people riled up. But my wife used to say you can sell the rattles off of the diamonds off a rattlesnake's back, right? But that may be true, but I can't do it unless it's something that I believe in. And I will never believe in anything that has no value, that doesn't help people. So check out those websites. And Harry, I can't say enough for the opportunity. It's been a great discussion. You know, I was earlier that one of my roommates in college, Joaquin Macia, his parents had him come over in the 1960 from Havana to live in Miami. And Joaquin was an amazing roommate. We were fraternity brothers, and he taught me a lot, you know, and I loved going to his house because his mother was such a great cook, and his parents might be gone now. I don't know. I'd have to check, but keep all your opportunities open. Never judge a book by its cover. It's amazing, like you said, Harry, the people that we meet may be the next connection, the next best friend that can make your life that much better. Even rich mine, I like talking to the people that feel the same way, and
being on the space contribution, especially John. I love the project that you're working on, because especially for the young generation, right? We live in an era now that you said, okay, you want to become an entrepreneur, you start a business, and people are searching and say, oh, this is really easy. There is no a better time to open a business right now. Become a millionaire is very easy, or you need to open business. And since I recall, John, it's not true. If you don't have exactly the 5 steps that you describe when you have, and it's coming from a long time ago, right? If you don't have these 5 steps embedded in your core values today, you won't be a successful entrepreneur, because the technology can change, the things can change, but the entrepreneurs from since entrepreneurship started until today, yeah, you can have better tools, you can have something that facilitates, but it doesn't matter what time of life you're living, you're gonna have a product, you're gonna have a service. It's not gonna work at the beginning. I haven't, out of the 500 million that I interviewed, John, I still haven't found anybody that tell me, Harry, guess what? I designed the product exactly like this, and I sold millions exactly how I envisioned it. Still nobody has told me this story yet. And one interview entrepreneur from all ages. So you have to design the product, you have to pivot. Things are gonna get tough, and this is where you have to shine, where you have to be resilient, to have this belief within yourself, to have this confidence, to be able to drop your ego and be flexible, and no matter what time. So I agree with you, John. There is a lot of information out there that is simply not true, and
most of it isn't.
And you look for it, and then gets deceiving, because then people go into the business thinking that, okay, make money is easy, right? And yet now, for me, they say, Harry, people ask me now, Harry, make money easy. Yeah, for me now it's easy. I make a phone call, I make a consultancy, I can make a lot of money now. But
not back then.
To reach to this point, John, it takes a lot of hard work. It takes, you know what it's gonna take. And a lot of deceiving information on this. So I'm so glad that you're working in this project, and to bring reality to, especially in our field, entrepreneurship, where we're responsible for everything, and employees, families, people we feed, even the economy depend from us. You know how many talks I've done in Mexico that the dean of the university had told me, Harry, please, with the graduate of the university about entrepreneurship, because that as soon as they finish university, 50% of them are not going to have a job. And if at least they learn how to start their own business, and they can think, they can create their own job. I've been asked in Latin America always to do this kind of talk. So entrepreneurs people can be free, people can create their own job, even if it's a small company. It's a way you can get your own freedom, but it's a process for everybody. But reliable information can get you a realistic what are you getting and what you can become. So thank you so much. Last.
Well, I have 6 hashtags: leadership,
I love
learning, liberty, freedom you mentioned, family, which is extremely important.
Oh yeah.
Education,
Mm-hmm.
and truth.
Wow.
And
Brilliant.
to your listeners, thank you for spending. I hope you're still here, but if you're not, go to Harry's
they
YouTube
will.
channel.
They will, and
Yeah.
they will listen several times.
Yeah. Go to Harry's channel and listen. But thank you very much for the opportunity. And we can always be better. We can always be better people if we do just some of these things that are pretty simple, not easy to do.
Yeah.
And I'm with Harry. If you think you're going to be a millionaire overnight, good luck with that. And if you are, email me. Thanks,
I would love to know.
We'll be there. But
if you haven't found one.
Yeah, exactly. If you're ever looking for a gringo to help with your mission, contact me, Harry. I'll support you any way I can. And
thank you so much.
God bless you, man.
God bless you too. So thank you so much. And for all of you following the broadcast, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneurs like John break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.